guest was right on top of it. He's joined by Roger Ayers and Anthony Franklin officiating our game this evening. Late night hoops in the ACC, G-Man. Stay with me, okay?
Yeah, and it's going to take a little while, I think, for both of these teams to figure each other out. Nice, strong attempt there inside.
So Medley Bacon missed on the first opportunity. Eric Boone was ready and waiting.
You talk to Virginia people, and the thing they're concerned about this year, rebounding. They were a negative rebounding team last year. And that's a place where Gardner can really step up. He hit some big numbers at ECU. He needs to put that kind of production up here.
Yeah, Gardner led him in rebounding, about 6.5 per game and 15 points per game. This is Beekman. Shot clock running down, too strong. Chased down in the corner by Justin Wright. And there was a shot clock violation. Lavelle Moten is the 13th year head coach for the Eagles. We had just a wonderful conversation with him, Mike, earlier at the shoot-around today.
Really has done some terrific things in the city of Durham, also in his hometown of Raleigh as well. Just a wonderful guy to chat with. Grew up actually a Duke fan watching our teams in the late 70s. Kind of shocked me a little bit.
They won 3 conference tournaments in a row from 2017 to 2019.
They were rolling before COVID hit, and then this team looking to get back, this program looking to get back to that level.
In fact, he told us he was just happy to have a full complement of players. They ran into COVID issues last year as well.
And you know what, Tom, just a different vibe, you know, coming into this year, just talking about basketball, not talking about other things.
Gardner's shot rattles out. He shot 50% from the floor a season ago. That was 7th best in the ACC for Jaden Gardner, the graduate student from Wake Forest, North Carolina. Medley Bacon goes across the lane. Shedrick came down with it.
And this is a game, especially with Medley Bacon, they're going to let him operate in the low post. And you don't see that a lot in the college game these days. It should be a nice matchup with him and Shedrick. He's a guy we talked about shooting. His numbers improved 10% better last year than he was the year prior. 34% from 3.
Beekman, the junior from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That one grazes the front rim. Cavaliers want to run. Beekman gave it up. Franklin, free ball. Money.
Back-to-back threes, good sign for Virginia. Tom, when this Virginia team scores, that's when they're out there. But you know they're going to defend, but they need to put points up on the board.
I think Roger Ayers just gave Lavelle Moten just a warning about the coach's box, Mike.
Moten having a little fun with the Cavaliers students.
How about the three-pointers? Now, this is a team, Mike, that only made about 5 threes per game.
Yep, and that was a good extra pass. Franklin wide open, and you know, if you're struggling, you come in that first night, you really want to have a good first outing.
Unselfish pass by Beekman to find the open man. This is Wright. Soft bounce and it falls.
You see, we talked about Justin Wright in the open, and Clark, a little bit of a mistake there defensively, went for the pump fake. A nice move by Wright.
Also there, Maltzby. Too strong. Clark has it. Yeah, Wright's at the top of the scouting chart as far as NC Central's concerned. Almost 14 points per game last year for the junior guard.
And that's going to be new for him this year, Tom. How about this? 3 threes in a row. Virginia was struggling to score up to that point.
The Cavaliers as a team last year, Mike, shot 32% from beyond the arc. 12th in the ACC. Quick hands from Franklin. Couldn't save it on the sideline. And we've got a timeout. Late night 3 balls on the menu for Virginia. And the time for tonight's Forward Keys to the Game with Mike Jaminski.
I think for North Carolina Central, it's just maintain focus. And Virginia's so disciplined defensively that you have to be locked in for 30 seconds on a possession. And for the Cavaliers, be principled. I mean, first game, you don't have a lot of tape on North Carolina Central, so just really focus on what you do, your fundamentals.
Tony Bennett's team only allowed just over 60 points per game a season ago. That was best in the ACC, 8th in the nation, and the arrow favors the Eagles.
Now, the flip side of that is they only averaged 61 points a game.
That's true.
Their margin for error was really razor thin last year.
And their points per game was 14th in the ACC out of the 15 teams that compete in this conference. Shot clock was winding down. Franklin pulls it down for Virginia.
And that phrase is going to be uttered by you a lot this evening,
Which
my
one?
friend. The shot clock is winding down.
We're going to keep a tally on that?
That's just what Virginia does.
Franklin lines it up. That is the first miss on a three-point attempt of the game for Virginia.
Now, for Virginia, they can't fall in love with the three-point shot this early.
Medley Bacon kept it alive.
Big number 35 for the Eagles.
Two 7-footers going at it in there. I don't see that a lot in a college game either.
Shot clock is at 7. Nifty dribble right. Just a bit strong, and Gardner puts his hands on the rebound.
They need him to be a little bit more of a playmaker as well. He's got that dribble game, a good pull-up that time, but he can create in the lane as well.
Keep in mind, Virginia returning 91.4% of its scoring from last season.
And that 0.4% could be huge.
Yes, and that's the best and most in NCAA basketball this season. Isaac McNeely's come into the game for Virginia. He just missed the last shot. Shedrick on the feed. Whistle on the strong move by Shedrick as the ball bounced out.
There's a good foul. Things just break down, and you get in the dribble drive. We talked about Beekman. He's a nice playmaker as well. It's 3 assists a game for him.
Yeah, Beekman and Clark amongst the league leaders when it comes to assists in the ACC a season ago.
And he's, for Beekman, he's probably more of a natural point guard than anything.
Time now for the fresh market. Oh, correction. We'll get to that in just a second. Here's your returning starters. Veteran group. And there's the 91.4%. Again, that leads college basketball.
And the thing, it's not so much the scoring, it's everybody being on the same page defensively. They're going to get, they're ready to go right now. The thing they have to do is work the new guys into that rotation.
Poked away by Beekman and out of bounds to Tony Bennett, your former teammate, Mike, in Charlotte in the NBA.
Yeah, it was just some guys you play with, are going to be coaches. And, his playing career, he maxed out on his talent, a great three-point shooter in college at Wisconsin Green Bay. Played for his dad, Dick, a wonderful human being in his own right. And what a marvelous legacy Tony has built here for himself already.
Well, Tony was an assistant for his dad in Wisconsin from 99 to 03. In fact, they went to the Final Four in 2000.
And also Washington State.
That's
went
right.
out there with him and then took this job. Hard to believe he's been here. This is his 14th year.
Yep, 92 graduate from Wisconsin Green Bay.
And I was talking with him. I says, how does it feel to be one of the old men in the league now?
He said, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you got Jim Larinaga, Jim Boeheim, Leonard Hamilton, and you.
Shook his head, couldn't believe it. 52 years old from Green Bay, Wisconsin.
This kid McNeely, they really think, they know that he can shoot the basketball. He just has to settle in.
Eagles on the run. They'll get it off the glass. Calculating the angle, Eric Boone.
Anytime they can get a play like that is gold against this team. Get out on the open floor, not have to play in the half court defensively, get an easy bucket.
Coach Moten playing some defense on that sideline as well. Hall of Fame player at North Carolina Central.
Nickname
out of bounds.
How about his nickname?
Love it.
Poetry in Moten.
He's got a great perspective on the big picture.
And it came through COVID too. He talked about his struggles, emotionally, the things that he had to deal with, and he lost dear friends to COVID. So it really put a lot of his coaching in perspective.
4 times he's led the program to a MEAC tourney championship. And that'll drop on the inside Francisco Cafaro.
He had a big game early last year that I did up here, and I thought, man, this guy's going to find a spot in the rotation, and I know they need him to step up. Buried on the bench last year, but he can be a nice bookend to Shedrick.
Redshirt senior from Argentina. Comes over with the help defense. Too much body from 22.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you got Shedrick at 6'11", 7 foot, and Cafaro coming in at 7'1".
This is the G-man soft touch in the paint. Look at that.
Little soft jump hook inside, putting it, you know, coaches always get a little tense when big guys put it on the floor like that, but he made it work.
He came out of the NBA Global Academy in Australia. Started 16 games last year. Wright is at the free throw line for North Carolina Central. They play in the MEAC. They went 15-14 overall last year, 8-5 to finish third in the MEAC during conference play. And they've made the trip from Durham, North Carolina. Enrollment is just over 8,000 at North Carolina Central. Tate Murray's come in, number 10 in white. Franklin's out of the lineup.
You have four really bench new guys out there on the floor along with Clark. Now, talking about the value of your point guard, that's a good guy you want, especially running the offense. But it's going to be interesting to see how this group defends.
Kihei Clark, Mike, has played over 4,200 minutes in a Virginia uniform. Part of that 2019 national championship team.
Last one left.
Clark on the drive, and there was a foul on the play.
Yeah, I was wondering if he was going to come back as dean of students this year. You know, he's running
He could if he wanted to, right?
Grad programs and things and classes to take here.
The dean of students might not be happy about it. But
Yeah.
another assist for Clark, maybe.
But it is also a function of how deliberate they are offensively.
That's true.
You know, there's a lot less. There are fewer possessions and less time in the game for the other team to score. However, it's truly astonishing to watch this team practice. And that pack line defense is incredible.
I mean, it is their calling card.
Yeah.
They've led the nation under Tony Bennett in scoring defense 7 times. And, Mike, they did it 4 times in a row from 2017 to 2020.
And it just works again. You talk about when they score over 70 points under Tony, 144 and 11.
That's right. Knocked away from Cafaro. The save right back to him. Vanderplas lines it up. Welcome to the ball game, Ben Vanderplas.
And he's the guy they got through the portal, and he actually bounced them out of the NIT last year and was playing for Ohio.
His father, Dean, was teammates with Tony Bennett under Coach Dick Bennett at Wisconsin Green Bay in the late 80s, early 90s. So Tony might have had the inside track to Vanderplas when he came into the portal. Graduate student, 4 years at Ohio, as Mike mentioned, and over 1,500 career points for number 5.
This is, again, NC Central mixing it up, throwing a little zone.
Cafaro.
And, you know, that's just recognition that Medley Bacon out of the game. They lose some size up front. Cafaro, that big body, gets great position right in front of the rim.
Cafaro had a 16-point game at home against Virginia Tech last season. Also had 9 rebounds to set his career highs last year. Tipped away and ripped away. And Murray got it. Clark on the hesitation and contact. Chris Monroe creating the contact for the Eagles. And so there's a timeout on the court. Vanderplas wide open, and the three-pointers are falling for the Cavaliers. This is Toyota on the floor right now. Devin Butts just hit a three-pointer. It was only the second field goal in the last 6 minutes for the Eagles. And Ben Vanderplas came in, Mike, and promptly knocked down a 3.
Good start for him in his UVA career here. We talked about it. And You know, I knew I was getting old when I started calling games of sons of guys that I played against. You know, now Tony's coaching them.
Wait a minute, G-Man. Now, we want to commend you on your 29th year broadcasting college basketball. Amazing run.
Just so blessed.
Yeah, amazing, really. And Raycom, 39 years. Raycom and Bally Sports, 39 years of ACC basketball.
Billy Packer. And you mentioned the Virginian Dan Bonner, too. Such a... I mean, that's the gold standard, those two.
Incredible cast of characters we've been able to work with over the years. Absolute thrill. Butler just picked up the foul for the Eagles. Cafaro standing at the free throw line with 10-12 to go in our first half. Tom Wormy, Mike Jaminski back at it again in 2022-23 on the ACC trail and the path to Greensboro, Mike, this year, going back to the roots for the tournament.
Yep, and you know, talk about roots and what this team, Virginia had a trip over to Italy this summer.
Yeah.
To kind of, you know, get them started on this year. Although you talk to coaches who go on those trips, of course, you know, invaluable on what they saw, the experiences that they had, but the bonding as a team and to get the new guys acclimated, just invaluable.
Good work on the offensive glass. Butler, yeah.
And he just outworked Cafaro that time, got inside position, and the offensive rebounding has been a little bit of an issue for Virginia.
Scoring from Butler is a bonus. Only averaged about 3.5 points per game last year. McNeely rocking the rim from three-point distance, 22 feet, 1 3/4 inches away.
And you know, it's working for him tonight. 7 of the 11 attempts have been behind the arc. And they've been getting a lot of them have been down in that right or down that left corner, but really spreading the floor well and getting very good looks.
The freshman Isaac McNeely, 6'4" and 174 pounds. So Vanderplas has hit one, McNeely, Beekman and Franklin. See the end of that Virginia bench there. They're just checking on Cafaro. But he's out of the game right now for Virginia. We'll keep an eye on his status. The big man for Virginia. Shedrick came down with a rebound off the miss from Oladapo. Transfer from Pitt.
Stepped on the sideline. Beekman just a little bit of a lapse of concentration running out of court.
Yeah, they're tending to Cafaro at the end of that bench. Francisco Cafaro. Last year, 4.5 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, and shot 52% from the floor. Showed off a soft touch on the jump hook earlier in this half. Beekman deflects it out of bounds. Quick hands.
That's the thing with this defense. What looks like an open pass can the lane shuts down really quickly. They're so good with and active with their hands. They get a lot of deflections.
Beekman started 35 games last season. A little bit of a bump.
You know, it's funny how you watch them practice and they build up the defense. They work 3-on-3, then 4-on-4, 5-on-5. When they're 3-on-3 defending, it looks like there are 4 defenders. When they're 4-on-4, it looks like 5. It's amazing how they're so active and so physical. There seems like there's an extra person out there defending.
You know, they're so active. They follow the lead of their coach. What did he do at the shoot-around today, Mike? They were shooting free throws, and he didn't think it was going fast enough. So he ran down the entire length of the court and started ripping the ball out of the net and feeding the shooters. It's like it was going too slow for him. And he came over to us. That's an offensive foul. That's right. Tony came over to us. I said, you need some oxygen? He started to sweat a little bit.
I know. He had a nice little spritz
He's
going.
like, yeah, he was in the schwitz, yeah. He's like, you know, he said, I gotta stay in shape. I gotta keep up with these young guys. Roger Ayers is trying to sort some things out. Tony Bennett, by the way, needs 11 wins, Mike, to pass Terry Holland as the all-time winningest coach here in this Commonwealth and the Virginia program. You'd imagine he would probably achieve that this season at some point. He's won 316 games as the head coach of the Cavaliers.
And I'm sure that Coach Holland would be well pleased with that as well, as to have Tony as the guy who passes him.
And the other thing he brought up to us right away as Franklin drives and a whistle on the drive. When we talked to him today, the first thing he said was, I hope we have a better result in our opener than we did last year.
Navy.
Against Navy in the season opener. They lost 66-58. They're 22-2 in their last 24 season openers, and he wanted to right away get us on track about the Navy loss last year.
But you know what? I mean, think about this, too. Think about going from being the first #1 seed to lose to a 16 and then come back the next year and win a national championship.
It is. I think he refers to that as the painful gift, right? He's mentioned that a few times.
Absolutely.
And that happened in Charlotte. Remember, they were upset Baltimore County.
And he handled that with such grace. And then to get his team to turn around and come back and win a title the next year, it just speaks to the type of man that he is.
Not surprising that he was the coach of the year in 2019. They won 35 games, Mike. They went 15-1 on this court.
Yep. And Tom, his highest scoring team that he's had here at UVA. When he scores, when this team scores, they win.
It's right scoring for NC Central. He's got the 3.
And, you know, and for Central, they're hanging right in there. And, you know, they haven't been great from the field, but some offensive rebounds. This game's still very much in shape.
They beat Auburn in the semifinals in 2019 and beat Texas Tech in overtime in the championship 85-77 back in 2019. In 2022-23, it's the 3-ball. That is the order of the evening. And the lead right now is 11 for the Cavaliers, knocking down those 3.
Samuel Suleiman and goes to NC Central and leads them on this incredible run, and they beat Duke to get to the Final Four.
Amazing.
But he and Coach Moden having a moment beforehand and he did his homework. But I got to have the good fortune to meet John, 20+ years ago, and been friends ever since. And just a fine, fine gentleman, and loves college athletics of all kinds. Actually, he and his wife Renee, their daughter Shay went to Carolina and graduated. And his wife Renee went back to school, and they graduated together. And they have a house down in Chapel Hill now too.
So what happens when Virginia and North Carolina play one another?
That's a good question.
Could be dicey.
Yeah, it could. You know, I had an issue with NC Central in the book beating Duke in the NCAA tournament. We had a little chat about that.
North Carolina and Duke at the Final Four season ago.
Hubert Davis, what a fabulous year.
So close to that national title in his first year as the head coach. Franklin, hello. This Virginia team played in the NIT a season ago. Shedrick strong on defense. Beekman's open. Launches it. Over top of backboard. And back to the Eagles.
And, you know, for Franklin, we talked about him getting off to a good start. He almost passed his way into a turnover right there, but they've been getting great looks out on the perimeter. Franklin 3 of 4 now from behind the arc.
So last year, the Cavaliers lost in the quarterfinals, Mike, of the NIT to St. Bonaventure. That was on this court. Foul on the drive.
And that would have been, you know, for most teams, 20 wins, another 500+ season in the ACC, and a good run in the NIT. But, this team is built, you win an NCAA championship, and that's where the expectations lie.
Eric Boone was at the free throw line.
You know, preseason second team MEAC, the selection coming into this year, so a good thing expected out of him. This is a veteran team, and you know, Lavelle's teams in the past they've been veteran, they've been older, and they've been very tough defensively, and that's what he wants to get back to.
Clark in traffic had that one knocked away. Wright with a little 2-on-2. Individual effort, spin, lost possession.
Beekman got the call for the reach. He was all ACC defensive team last year, may be the best perimeter defender in the conference.
Justin right at the line, shooting 2.
Wright at the line for the Eagles. 11 straight years in the postseason for Coach Bennett's team. 9 times to the NCAA tournament. A couple of trips to the NIT, including last year.
A really balanced scoring, Franklin with 13, but a lot of guys have scored for Virginia, but not so balanced. But Wright putting together a nice game so far. 8 points here in the first half.
Double-digit scorer from a season ago to lead the team with almost 14 per game. Scored 20 or more in 7 conference games last season, including 32 points in an OT win at home against Delaware State last year. He can be explosive. Keep an eye on 5 in maroon. Shot clock is at 8. Clark, a lot of dribbling. Pulls back. Angular rebound, Gardner. Put the shoulder down, aggressively to the rim. Couldn't follow his miss. Shedrick grabs it. Ball into the backcourt, deflected, and a clean play. Approaching the 5-minute threshold of the first half, and so glad that you're with us for ACC basketball. Shedrick.
And that's in his career up to this point has not been in his range. And I think, you know, if you're North Carolina Central, you will definitely live with that shot.
Shedrick, the redshirt junior from Holly Springs, North Carolina. Ball's up for grabs in the corner. Run down by Wright. The ball did not hit the rim. 3 on the shot clock. McNeely couldn't stop Wright. Hey, that's a 3, Mike Jaminski.
Yeah, and that's you know, and it's Virginia, good defensive stand, couldn't get the offense or couldn't get the defensive rebound. They get the recycle, and he gets a nice look at 3.
It's a little 6-0 run now for the Eagles. Wright's into double digits, Mike, with 11. Franklin's got 13 to lead the way for Virginia. 3 of 4 from 3-point distance.
Nice job against McNeely of creating the space, driving into him, and then backing off and making the shot.
Vanderplas has come in. McNeely will fire away. Gardner preserves the possession. And we're inside of 4 minutes of the first half. That'll be deflected out of bounds off of the Eagles and Eric Boone. We'll take a quick timeout. It's a 10-point game. Last year getting to the quarterfinals of the NIT. Here's what we've got so far. 3-point shooting differential. The Eagles are just 3 of 10. Virginia 6 of 11 from the 3-point atmosphere. And they are holding the Eagles to about 29% shooting so far, Mike, while Virginia's shooting 47% as a team from the floor.
You know, the one good thing for the Eagles, they're getting shots. Only 2 turnovers, which is very good against this defense.
Clark in a congested area, lost the handle. It is the first game. Everybody trying to get their wheels under them. Long rebound.
That's the thing, you know, with this, you really have to prepare against the other coach in this game. Like Tony Bennett knows how Lavelle Moulton coaches in his style, and you know, vice versa. So you know, you kind of know what to expect there. It's just a matter of, you know, seeing what goes on the floor during the first game. The thing not expecting, if you're the Eagles, is the 3-point shooting that Virginia's put out there.
Oladapo at the free throw line for NC Central. Well, we have a moment, a message from Works Nitro. Faro gets the rebound off the miss, just back into the game. Remember, they were taking a look at him at the end of the bench for Virginia, so good to see that he was well enough to come back into the ball game. Franklin off target.
On that one, Gordon, it was a good contested shot that time. Good solid defense. And I think for the, we talked about the 5 guys who were here for Virginia. The thing that's going to be for the new guys is finding their way. You're going to be a little reluctant at first to come in and Vanderplas there against the foul. You may be a little reluctant to kind of really step up and take your shot. I think it's going to take them a few games to work that out.
Even if you've played 4 years at Ohio and were a standout player there, you're trying to find your role very early. Getting some good game experience. North Carolina Central, they've got a veteran crew as well. 10 players back from last year, including 3 starters.
And really, Justin Wright, well, Gordon's a sophomore, but Justin Wright as a junior is the youngest guy on the team. Everybody else, seniors, 5th-year seniors, grad students, so it's an older crew.
And they finished strong last year, winning 7 of their last 11 games before losing in the semifinals of their conference tournament. Clark floating and hitting.
Normally, you want him, if you're going to pick somebody of the guys out on the floor to take that shot toward the end of the clock, you want it to be him. Now, Clark, if he can step up and hit that consistently, it's going to be a big lift for this offense.
Stopped the 4.5-minute scoring drought for Virginia. And that shot by Kihei Clark, a grad student from Woodland Hills, California, playing his 129th game for the Cavaliers. And there is a player doubled over. It's 44, Oladapo for North Carolina Central. Trying to shake this one off. There is a timeout on the floor for the moment. He's going to need a little bit of medical attention as he goes over to his bench area. See if we can pick it up here, Mike. 44 in maroon.
Cafaro got him with the elbow. That was a really nice floater by Boone.
Eric Boone was an all-MEAC performer last season as well. Led the conference in assists. Coming up with the bucket there. Just under 10 points per game for Boone. So while we have a second with 1:46 to go in our first half of play. Coming up at halftime, we'll have a recap of that Stetson Florida State game and a win by the Hatters over the Seminoles. We'll go with Tony Bennett. I had a chance to sit down with him recently. Talk about his career here at Virginia and beyond. The first half highlights and analysis with the G-Man. Great to have you along for the ride tonight, and hope you'll be with us for the entire season of ACC basketball on your regional sports networks. Roger Ayers coming over. Okay, so
it's just a basketball play there. No extra stuff for Faro.
And we appreciate Roger coming over. Roger Ayers came over to clarify the situation. Veteran official. Kihei Clark, 5th in school history in assists. Missed on the shot attempt. Cafaro was trying to clean up the mess. The foul coming up for the Eagles. Butts picks it up.
And that was at the beginning of last year. I mean, Tony Bennett sat down with those guys and said, well, what are you thinking about for this year? And Clark with, I think in his mind, he was ready to move on. And then after the season came back, it was a late decision, and he asked Tony, said, "Will you have me back?" Tony said, "Of course I will."
So double bonus here late in the first half for Virginia. Clark, he made the pass. So Mamadi Diakite, who hit that shot to send the game into overtime. And the 2019 national championship for Virginia.
This right now, if you're the Eagles, you want to, just not let this game get out of shape in a minute and a half. You've done a nice job keeping the game close. You're only down by 10. We want to get Virginia on a little bit of a run here.
Gardner in amongst 3 defenders. And the infraction against the Eagles.
Gardner's only 6'6", but he's strong. He's wide. He does a lot of work inside. You talked about his numbers last year, respectable, Tom, for sure. 15.6 rebounds. But I think if they can get, a rebound and a half, 2 rebounds more out of him, that'll really help the cause this year.
Tony Bennett's team was right in the middle of the ACC a season ago as far as team percentage from the free throw line. They were 8th in the conference, and Gardner was 79%. He was in the top 10, 7th from the line in the ACC. His point production tonight, Mike, puts him over 2,000 career points. Played at East Carolina as well. Played 79 games for the Pirates before.
Armaan Franklin has been the story for Virginia so far, though. 13 points for him, really shooting the ball well from 3.
How about right ripping the ropes?
He is made to score.
You put a little flair on that one, Mike. The between the legs dribble and a little fall away. Hit that net. And right with the bucket. Closing seconds, first half. Entry pass. Right back out to Clark. Defender went by. No look to Gardner. I was fooled. I don't know about you, Mike.
There's the look, just waves everybody out. He's got the nice thing is he got the switch. He got Vanderplas on him. Knew he had a big and he could take him off the dribble. Now he didn't. Vanderplas didn't give up the drive, but he was able to get a nice look on his jump shot.
It's 13 points in the first half for Wright. And you mentioned Armaan Franklin, Mike, the senior in his second year in the Virginia program after transferring from Indiana. Nobody attempted more three-pointers last year for Virginia than Armaan Franklin.
And every shot he's taken has been from behind the arc. 3 of 5. Also is perfect at the free throw line, so extremely efficient. I mean, you take 5 shots and score 13 points in a half. That's as efficient as it gets.
I mean, when you look back at last season, Mike, 21 times he hit double figures in scoring in the 35 games that they played, including 3 in the NIT.
Well, I mentioned the fact that he could shoot. I mean, it's 2 years ago, 42% from 3. Last year, down to 29%. They've got to get back up closer to that 40%, which he's gotten off to a nice start here.
He made 53 threes. Kihei Clark led the way with 54 made threes a season ago. Gardner back at the line.
Let's have a bit of an unorthodox release at the free throw line. Just under 80%, though. You can't argue with the numbers.
Just kind of pushes it up there softly.
Yeah, in front of his forehead a little bit. 80%, though, you live with that.
Final seconds for Wright and the Eagles. 3 ball on net right. Franklin will not get it away.
How about Justin Wright?
Mike, that makes it an 8-point game.
And 16 points for him. What a half. This again, they're going to have to get out, get a hand up. He has proven himself from behind the arc.
3 in that first half to close the gap to 8. Virginia had 9 made field goals in that first half, and 6 of them were in the three-point airspace.
And the last thing you want to do is give a visiting team hope in a game like this. And the longer this game lingers like this, the more hope that North Carolina Central will have.
So glad that you're with us. Tom Wormy along with Mike Jaminski, the G-Man, the Duke legend, the All-American. His 29th year of broadcasting. We have a competitive ball game through the first 20 minutes and change as we crank up the second half. Our outstanding ACC college basketball production crew also here in Charlottesville to bring you this one.
Let's see if that three-point shooting holds up in the second half for Virginia like it did in the first 20 minutes.
Hey, shot clock down to 2, G-Man. Key, Hay, Clark, both sides of the rim and no good.
Again, of the guys on the floor, you want him taking that long contested shot at the end of the clock. That possession didn't do much.
And the Eagles can't do much with it.
That's what they, talking to Lavelle Moten, Medley Bacon, he really does a nice job of setting screens and rolling into the lane area. Just couldn't get a handle on the pass that time.
Just the third turnover of the game for the Eagles. Medley Bacon only played about 6 minutes in that first half, Mike. Did have a couple of personal fouls. Wright 1 on 2, 1 on 3. Still got the shot away.
I think that Coach Moten had to save him for the second half because of those fouls.
Free throws upcoming for Virginia on the drive and foul. Beekman making his way to the rim.
And that's the one, aside from the three-point shooting, the one area Virginia really had an edge in that first half at the free throw line. 14 of 16 in the first 20 minutes.
Although for Beekman, first free throw attempts of the ball game. 76% from the stripe a season ago for Reece Beekman. Averaged just over 8 points per game, about 4 rebounds as well. Set a school record, Mike, with 73 steals.
Yeah, great hands and just so active. And you know what's going to be interesting to me in this second half with the score the way it is, how liberal Tony Bennett substitutes. You know, and if he's going to keep his starters out there for an extended period of time.
Clark and Franklin both over 17 minutes of action in the first half out of that starting lineup. Active defense. Gardner ended up with the basketball, but the whistle goes against Virginia.
That's the thing of Gardner. He said 6'6", and he can defend out on the perimeter like that.
They try to put it up on the rim. Medley Bacon clockwise swirl down the net.
Got Shedrick up in the air. Well-designed play. He got the screen and was able to, rather than go right up with this shot, did a nice job of collecting himself and then drawing the contact. Good finish.
Cannot complete the three-point play for the graduate student center. 7-footer, 235 for Medley Bacon out of Baltimore, Maryland. He's a transfer from McNeese State. Third on Maltsby. Marquis Maltsby, number 11 for the visiting Eagles. Senior guard out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and a transfer from New Hampshire. Shot clock at 10 for Clark.
Not a ton of movement in Virginia here. A lot of standing around, some one-on-one dribbling. Not a lot of ball movement or player movement. 4 on the shot clock.
Gardner and Clark, Shedrick, Beekman on the inbound, Franklin in there as well. that shot clock. Franklin got it away.
Big time play, and he had Medley Beekman bearing down on him too with a hand up in his face. That was a tough finish.
Maltzby, the answer. 3-ball for number 11.
I was going to say, you can tell the body language for the North Carolina Central Eagles completely changed now. They feel like they belong out on the court.
Not backing down from the number 18 team in the nation. Now, it's very early in the season. I don't know how much credence head coaches put in those rankings at this juncture. And they've taken the board on the miss.
I was never a big believer in the preseason rankings.
Shedrick. Contact. Foul against Shedrick.
I mean, this just bails out a possession that was going nowhere. 4 seconds on the shot clock on a sideline out of bounds. And then Maltzby. That's about as good a look as you're going to get in the half court.
Maltzby shot 33% and made 23 threes a season ago for the Eagles. Shedrick just picked up his 3rd personal as well, so Cafaro has come into the lineup. Oh, another 3 from the Eagles. Eric Boone.
And crowd of JPJ getting a little testy right now. You see the great life on the bench for the Eagles.
The lead is 5 for Virginia. Beekman accelerating, lost the basketball. 2-on-1. Hanging and scoring, and it's Boone. And a timeout on the court.
Well, and what a great job Boone did on a 2-on-1 break, holding the play, making the defense commit, and then finishing the play.
After he made the throw for Lavelle Moten and his Eagles. Great player in his own right, Lavelle Moten. 3rd in school history at North Carolina Central in points.
Well,
over 1,700 in his career.
And think too, I mean, you forced Tony Bennett to take a timeout before the under 16, which was coming, and he had to stop that run.
So if you go back to the first half, Mike, about 10 minutes and 45 seconds of game time, just 2 baskets, and both of them Franklin 3-point shots. That's the breakdown. See where the other source of offense might come from. Could it be Beekman? Could it be Vanderplas who's come into the game? He's got a 3. Clark stumbled, caused by the contact. Who are they going to give this one to? Maltzby?
You know, at least in the short term, in the near term, in this half, if I'm Lavelle Moten, I'm going to pack it in. I'm going to test that 3-point shooting out in the second half for Virginia, see if they're still as hot. Make them prove themselves again, and then press your defense out.
7 of 15 so far in the game. That was the 4th on Maltzby as he trudges to the Eagle bench area with Kihei Clark at the free throw line.
But only 1 of 5 in this half.
Correct. After going 6 of 12. Maltzby just hit a 3 as well for the Eagles. He has to go to the bench with foul trouble, and Clark comes up empty. He was 78% last season from the line. He has to tie this game with a 3 for NC Central. Inside. Medley Beekman missed. Tough angle. He hit the court, Mike, and there was a whistle. A lot of activity under the hoop. And the fouls against Cafaro. Cavaliers by 3.
Wright hasn't scored in this half. You know, it's been Boone who has stepped up, and also they're playing better as a unit offensively. They've got the 3 assists on 4 made field goals, so getting stuff out of their offense instead of one-on-one.
Medley Beekman at the free throw line. He's 0 for 1 from the line tonight. Couple of points for him so far. Connecting from the line and inching closer to Virginia.
Let's see, and the Eagles have done a nice job spreading the floor, talking again, setting the higher pick and roll. with Medley Bacon and rolling him into the rim. Let's see if they keep going to that.
15:43 on the clock, Mike, in the second half, and this is a one-point game. Virginia led 38-30 at halftime, meaning they've only scored 5 points so far in the second half. Franklin, he got bumped. That was Devin Butts, 52 in maroon. Second foul on Butts.
That's his second team score.
Fourth on the team.
Well, yeah, right now, if Virginia can get into the bonus fast, that's really going to help them out because they've really struggled to find offense other ways.
Virginia got to the free throw line 16 times in the first half and made 14 of those. Led by Cafaro and Franklin, both 4 for 4 from the line in the first half.
Butts on the hold.
That's another one, his third.
And those are, again, you know, as far as getting to the bonus, those are the cheap fouls that you can't give up against this team. It was a grab on a play 30 feet from the basket.
So all of a sudden, it's NC Central shooting a better percentage as a team right now, 41%, with 38.5% from the floor for Virginia. Franklin will not improve on those figures.
And the shots Virginia is getting are tough. They're contested.
North Carolina Central led this game 2-0. That was their last lead. Chance with a bucket to take the lead. Vander Plas held his ground. Beekman, the kick. Clark. It's a couple of feet behind the line. Vander Plas. Cafaro tried to volleyball it. Couldn't get to it. Off the glass and good. Eric Boone.
And even though Cafaro is 7 feet, he's not the shot blocker that Shedrick is. In the first, another, that's since 2-0 with 44-43.
Amazing. Clark. He hits it to extinguish the run with a three for Clark.
Yeah, we talked about the guy with the championship pedigree. He knew his team needed a lift of some sort.
Clark led the team last season and made threes. Beekman with the steal. He'll rock the rim.
And just those lazy passes, you really have to be careful against this Virginia team. And that Beekman's so opportunistic.
In a blink, Virginia has taken a 4-point lead after trailing by 1. Right, a little follow away, and he hits it.
Big time answer, and the crowd was quiet. They'd gotten back into it, but a terrific answer. First basket of the second half for Justin Wright.
Beekman. They're throwing haymakers out there now, Mike. This is a ball game. Cafaro the clearance.
Yeah, that's not Medley Bacon. Again, Virginia lived with that shot instead of him rolling to the basket.
Clark. Cafaro. Power dribble.
And the finish. And this group out here right now, Tom, may be the best offensive unit that Virginia's had in the game. You got Franklin out in the wing with Beekman, and then Vander Plas and Cafaro with that finish inside.
Monroe picked up his third personal. So Virginia and NC Central going toe-to-toe.
Points for him.
So Tony Bennett's team challenged this evening in their home opener.
Well, the other thing right now too is the next foul by Central puts Virginia in the bonus for the rest of the half.
Don't forget, Tony Bennett is 178-37 on this court as the head coach of the Cavaliers. Cafaro couldn't finish off that old school three-point play. You want to stay tuned for the fast break presented by your local Ford dealer. That's the Ford Fast Break, and it's coming up in just a bit. With 12:19 to go in the second half, Tom Wormy, Mike Jaminski here at John Paul Jones Arena.
Well, Cafaro was looked at by the training staff in that first half. Doesn't seem to have affected his play so far.
This incredible facility, 17th season for the Virginia program inside. JPJ. They win 80% of their games in this building. And they're in a fight with the Eagles. That came up short. Vanderplas grabbed it. Virginia also 87-10, Mike, against non-conference opponents at home under Tony Bennett.
Wow, that's a good thing on that kick because Shedrick was wide open, ready to dunk the ball. You'll take that. I mean, you get only 2 seconds more added to the shot clock to save a dunk.
Three double-figure scorers, Beekman, Franklin, and Cafaro right now for the Cavaliers. Shot clock at 10 for Clark.
That's against the zone. Vanderplas a good guy to get right in the middle of that as a passer and scorer.
Shoots it at the end of the clock and makes it. Two for three on three-point attempts.
And that's I talked about him working his way in. He'll get more aggressive looking for his offense as this season grows.
Oladapo grabbed that loose ball. Second chance on the possession. They try to get it into Medley Bacon.
So against Shedrick, you can't throw that lob. He's too bouncy.
Vanderplas again. Looking for his third three out of the corner.
I'll take that three-pointer out for a test drive.
Medley Bacon.
They got a big double team in the corner. Nice job taking some time off the clock.
He was fenced in for a moment. And now Wright working on Clark. Came up short. And then Clark pulled down the board.
Yeah, better job. And Clark is strong, and he got underneath Wright that time. Forced a tough shot.
Virginia working on an 8-0 run. Make it a 10-0 run. Shedrick at the rim.
Much better balance in this half of attacking the paint area and then hitting some timely threes.
Lead is back up to 12. After the Eagles had taken a 1-point lead just a few minutes ago. They've got a three from the corner.
Nice swing that time, Devin Butts.
Second three made for Butts. 7 made threes in the game for NC Central. Tapped away and stolen on the hustle. Boone. One-on-one goes Euro. Score it.
That was an excellent defensive play by Beekman that time, but he just got beat by a better move. Again, the good hand on that wing pass. And I think they got away with a little bit of walk that time. 1, 2, 3, and then it came down. Yeah, that'd be a travel in most leagues.
And the third foul on Beekman. He's going to the bench with.
But give him credit. I mean, even that all being said, that was a good finish through some good defense.
So Beekman's out of there with 10 points and 3 personal fouls, and the three-point play completed by Eric Boone.
Let's see how long. He goes out at the 9:30 mark. Let's see how long Tony Bennett keeps him on the bench with those fouls.
So both Boone and Wright might have 18 points to lead the way for the Eagles tonight. McNeely. Shedrick. I'll tell you what. He put Medley Bacon aside and then grabbed the offensive glass.
And, Medley Bacon was begging for a call right there. You're not going to get that on the road.
Foul on Clark. He went for the steal.
There's the look. I mean, it's on the work side, and it just two guys working, and one guy wound up on the floor.
And he got by Boone, who came over to help defensively, and Shedrick took it right to him.
Well, Shedrick and Cafaro combined 16.7 rebounds out of the 5 spot. Pretty good production. I'm always going to give those 5 guys
That's right.
extra time.
Backing down, didn't get the bounce for Oladapo. And Shedrick came over the top for the board. (28-22) the advantage on the glass for Virginia. Clark front rim. Shedrick.
I'll tell you, he has been all over the offensive glass these last 3 or 4 possessions.
Fighting up high there with Medley Bacon. Franklin stop and start.
Lavelle Moe needs he's a little in between right now. He wants to get that under 8 timeout, and he's got that in his pocket now.
18 points for Franklin, leading scorer for the Cavaliers.
Offensive foul on that possession.
So leading the way is Franklin with 18, and it's a 10-point lead for Virginia.
Off the dribble, that's what North Carolina Central, that's where they've been doing most of their damage, and Clark just really quick. That was a tough call, I gotta say.
Virginia with the basketball. 7:50 to go in the second half. They had an 8-point halftime lead, 38-30 in the first ever meeting between the programs. First game of the season. They drop it low. Shedrick put it on the floor. It goes against NC Central. Medley Bacon.
Yeah, nice production out of that pick and roll game with Shedrick and Cafaro picking them up in the second half.
Shedrick is now 3 for 3 from the line. It's going to be Justin Wright coming back into the game for NC Central. Wright and Boone, both with 18.
And they can, and Tony Bennett, the longer they can keep this 10, 11, 12-point lead out there, he can keep Beekman on the bench with those fouls.
Three fouls for Beekman and 10 points. One of 3 double-digit scorers. Cafaro's got 10. Franklin's got 18. Eagles with the basketball. Medley Bacon backing it down on the block. It's going to be a goaltending violation against Shedrick.
Anyway, he's got some nice moves inside, and they've given him a lot of room, some good spacing, so he had really the whole paint area. And a lot of times, Tom, a shot blocker will give you that latitude inside and let you have the catch, thinking that he can clean things up.
6 points for Medley Bacon. Lead is 10. Shedrick led this team in block shots a season ago with 67. Had a double-double on the road at Syracuse. That's Gardner.
He's had a tough time finishing 0-4 now in the game, in the paint.
Just 3 points for Gardner. If you told Lavelle Moten Gardner will have 3 points with 6:55 to go, he'd take it.
But 9 rebounds. So it hasn't affected the other parts of his game.
All the points from the free throw line for Gardner. Spinning around the defender. Contact on the floor. Oladapo. 1-on-1 situation.
Foul 44. Dan Oladapo. His first, team 9.
Gardner is 3 for 4 from the free throw line. That's the 9th team foul against North Carolina Central.
Well, for the Eagles, they need to get right going again. Last few minutes, only 3 points in. There were only 2 points in the half. And right now they got some length on him. Franklin has been guarding him, and he's done a nice job shutting him down. Now Virginia, they will double big side to side. And they came out Medley Bacon that time.
Yeah, Wright was 5 of 8 shooting in that first half. Shot clock's at 7. Got Franklin in the air.
Nice job defensively.
Running out of time.
Great defensive stand that time. Great job by Franklin on Justin Wright.
Isaac McNeely.
Here's that look. And you see again, he's doing it off the dribble, but a nice job. Franklin staying his ground, keeping it. He knows with his length that he can get up and bother that shot.
Double bonus now for Virginia, and Franklin at the line. He's now 5 for 5 from the free throw line.
Reece returns for the Cavaliers, replacing
Devin Butts comes back in for NC Central. Beekman's back in the game as well, Mike. He's in the backcourt.
And now they've got some real size out there with Clark out of the game. One of the few times he'll be on the bench, but you've got a backcourt of Beekman and Franklin. That's some length out there defensively.
Virginia is 19-0 all-time against opponents out of the MEAC. They'll also play Maryland Eastern Shore on November 25th out of the MEAC. Wright turns around and it stays down. Coach Moten wants a timeout.
He got the bigger cover that time. And that was a shot that's the kind of play he was manufacturing for himself. So you got the switch with Gardner, and he knew that he could create. Nice pump fake.
It's 20 points now, Mike, for Wright. 7 of 13 from the floor. And that includes 3 for 3 from three-point distance.
Yeah, for 14 minutes in this half, they've kept him in check. But
so they're checking on Justin Wright right now at the end of that Eagle bench.
We'll retape.
See what he did in the first half there with those 16 points. He led all scorers in the first half, and he was 5 of 8 from the floor. All of those threes that I mentioned that he's made were also in the first half.
I think I may be working out a little cramp there as well.
Letterman scoring a season ago.
Yep.
He's doing it tonight.
First team All-MEAC, and looked like he's headed to having a repeat of that. Granted, it's early, but on the road in this environment against this defensive team to have the night that he's had so far.
Out of Greenville, North Carolina, 6'2" and 195-pound guard. And a junior for Coach Lavelle Moten. You can see he's got some moves. Question is,
got to hydrate a little bit more
to get back in the game. He's got the issues as well with one of his teammates. That's Chris Monroe, number 2. I think Coach Moten, Mike, would take a 10-point game with 5.5 minutes to go. Considering they actually had a 1-point lead earlier in the half. Remember, they led 44-43.
Let's just fast forward to this and see who wins the less. Right?
It's getting past the G-Man's bedtime here, approaching 11 Eastern.
This whole daylight savings time change thing has really thrown me for a loop, Tom. Come on.
The rods and cones are all messed up. Clark trying to work off that Vanderplas screen. Did not materialize. Clark lets it fly. Front rim rebound. Franklin, watch out. That was a collision waiting to happen, and Franklin might have got the worst of that. Although popping up with the help of his teammates immediately. And there was a foul in the process. Butts picked up number 4. And that means free throws for Virginia.
There's just nobody out on the perimeter. Everybody packed in. Central.
So Franklin, Mike, is up to 20 points. 5 of 9 shooting, 6 of 6 from the line. He was part of that early three-point barrage by Virginia. Made 3 of their first 4 attempts. Setting a little three-point tone. They've got 10 made threes in the game. Franklin's career high is 23.
He's been talking about again as efficient as you can. Only 9 shots. Excellent from the free throw line. Beekman upset with himself or not. He saw 2 points. He saw a pick 6 right there.
I'm glad he didn't dive after that one because he was headed in our general direction.
Our?
Yes.
I'd have gotten out of the way. I love you, Park. But
I don't hold my ground for the offensive fouls when you're this close to the action. Maltzby. Shot clock at 10. Oladapo was met at the rim. Shedrick was there. Franklin too. Maybe Vanderplas as well. Converging on the ball carrier. Beekman. Baseline move, Vanderplas, and a foul.
This is what Shedrick does. He does a nice job of fighting off inside and then protecting the rim, cleaning things up. Really solid. I mean, right from the start, you saw the bounce in his game, and he paid his dues his first year. His role expanded last year tremendously. Still growing into that role, I think.
Redshirt junior, 6'11". Vanderplas, 6'8".
Yeah, but you throw, you know, Cafaro continues to play. You put those 3 in that rotation, gives you some good depth at the 4-5. You can throw some different combinations out there.
Good looking front line. Vanderplas challenged the shooter. Gordon stripped away. Gordon got it back. Right into Vanderplas. Shedrick grabbed it. Here's Clark. Inside of 4 minutes to go in regulation.
I'll tell you what, Franklin just, he runs about 3 miles and during the game along that baseline, just running off the screens, trying to find an opening.
Vanderplas kicked it out. Clark rattles it home for 3.
Really nice answer by Virginia to that lead, and North Carolina Central was really pumped up at that point, but Virginia came out defensively, shut things down on the perimeter.
11 made threes for Virginia out of the corner. That's a 3 ball.
Gordon.
Was Gordon. Took a tumble after the shot as well, but got it away and connected with a sophomore forward from Powder Springs, Georgia. He's a Mississippi transfer, Mike. First year in the program. Spinning. Knocked away by Gordon. Kihei Clark has 9 points in the game and just made his second 3. 71-59 Virginia. 71-59, 2:43 to go in regulation here at John Paul Jones Arena. Armaan Franklin leading the way with 21 points, 4 made threes. He is tonight's Hardy's star to watch.
Well, and the thing, too, when we talked about the pace of play, and this a 12-point lead against Virginia, that's a big lead for them. Just the way they grind. That is not the shot they wanted right there.
Deep in the shot clock, he took a chance. That was Shedrick for 3, right, Mike? He's now 0 for 3 in his career on three-point attempts.
You're not going to hear that call too much.
Oh, man, monster block. Tried to save it.
That's a call you will hear a lot, though, from that young man.
Mike, this is not a time for mercy. Virginia, the guardians of the rim.
Going through all Mr. Grisham's books.
This defense is like the firm out there. What else we got?
We're not quite in the time to kill yet, but you're doing a good job.
We're not. You keep doing that, I'm going to send you to Camino Island. Shedrick, double teamed. Clean play. Ball might have hit the end line. These two teams tonight, they've been sparring partners. Jaminski. All right, I'm done with that.
Yes, you are.
That ended about 30 seconds ago. I'm behind the times as usual. 71-59, inside of 2 minutes to go.
Goal, Tom, goal.
Those were references for John Grisham books. He was courtside tonight watching the action. That finger roll drops. I'll tell you what, Devin Gordon's kind of come alive late in this one. A lot of good things, Mike, for the Eagles from tonight, and it's still a 10-point game.
Yeah, no question about it. I think that Coach Moten's going to have a good game film to look at here.
Early in the half, the Eagles went on a run and took a 1-point lead. Wake-up call for the Cavaliers, who again have never lost a MEAC opponent. Deep in the shot clock for Beekman, it spins off. Maltzby leads the charge. Tough catch on the bounce pass. Gordon, Beekman.
And that should about do it.
Final minute. Tony Bennett trying to close in on win number 317 as the head coach of Virginia, and his 386th overall. He is approaching my 400 career victories in his 17th year as a collegiate head coach. This one was in question for a heartbeat. Not anymore! A rim bender from Shedrick. Adding the punctuation to the story authored tonight by the Virginia Cavaliers.
Uncle,
just stop already. Eagles trying to get a shot away late in the shot clock. There's only 10 seconds on the game clock. And that will be Virginia basketball, and that should be the final count. So here's what you got coming up. Monmouth right back at it on Friday. We'll have it for you. Northern Iowa, Baylor. They're going to play.
Baylor is going to be a
Eastern Shore out of the MEAC as well. And that'll do it.
Good first night by the Cavaliers, and I tell you what, LaVelle Moten should be very proud of his team and the effort they gave here.
Trailed by 8 at halftime and lose at 73-61, and Tony Bennett and the Virginia Cavaliers. I would say he feels like he avenged that loss to Navy in the opener last year. They win it tonight against the Eagles, and all around what we expected from Virginia, and they did it without